What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel, World of Wrestling, for Random Wrestling Talk, episode number 31. We got a hell of a fucking show to talk about. I got a couple of text messages from Matt87 Eagle on my phone as I was going live here on the show. He's like, "Hey, where's Rachel Buck? She's not blowing up your chat with the comments about AEW's about to fail and they're going to crumble in the next year or so." I don't know where she's coming up with this crazy insanity, but she does have a slight point. If you notice the way AEW is being run right now, with all this favoritism and political bullshit that's going on in AEW, they could be on the verge of going out of business. But that I highly doubt Tony Khan is going to let happen, despite the fact that he is very, very, uh, political right now. He's playing favorites, but he's got to realize with all the money he's invested in this company, all the money he's given to these performers, he cannot allow failure at this point. He's invested too much money into this company to allow that to happen. So that's just my viewpoint on TK right now at this point. I'm going to go over some of the favoritism that's taking place in AEW at this point, and I want to hear from you guys and your viewpoints. If you agree or disagree, if you disagree, please explain why. Of course. Daniel says, "Hey, I just got here. Hey, man, you just made it. I just started the damn live stream, so you're here. Nice, getting here. Appreciate it. I love having you here, man. You're one of my top subs in this chat and on this channel. So I appreciate you very much, man." Matt87 Eagle, my other right hand man, best friend since we were in middle school, man. He says, "Stop being a fan, TK, and start being a boss." Yep. I think probably Sasha Banks could probably do a better job being a boss than him right now. Folks, if you didn't already watch the review I did for like a 10-minute video, it was a very short review because it's late on 11 o'clock at night. I'm not JD from New York 206 or any of those big podcasters that have to have those live streams where I get my money. So I did a short later on this show. I definitely want to go ahead and start implementing raw reviews. I just can't do them immediately after the show goes off the air because I have work the next day anyway. So that's just a thing I want to throw out there. So you guys may be getting weekly raw reviews on Tuesday nights here on Random Wrestling Talk. So if you guys are interested in that, please let me know as well. Go ahead, don't be shy, hit that fucking like button, man. It helps the channel out. If you appreciate this channel, go ahead and hit that like button. But let's go into TK and just I'm gonna kind of reiterate some things that have been said, and also what I've said on this channel since last week. I've been dealing with COVID, so Random Wrestling Talk episode 31 was postponed to this Tuesday. So I greatly appreciate you guys standing by and still subscribing to the channel despite me not feeling at 100%. So what about this? What am I going to say about TK? Well, right now, TK is being a schmuck. He is playing too much favoritism. If you can tell, you can see how Thunder Rosa is being treated. There is no reason why Brett Baker is coming out on Dynamite last week talking shit about how she wrestled with a broken arm, a wrist problem. She had a wrist problem. She was in a cast on her wrist and what have you, and she wrestled throughout the entire time while she was injured. Um, Kudos to her for doing that. Um, kudos to her for that, but her situation and Thunder Rosa's situation is two completely different things. I don't think Brett Baker would be able to perform under the kind of injury that Thunder Rosa is dealing with right now. Thunder Rosa is dealing with a disc problem in her back. I think she has a herniated disc or something. You cannot wrestle or do anything with a herniated disc. I mean, that is insanity. You could permanently injure somebody by having them have to wrestle with that kind of injury. Not to mention, most of these wrestlers are on their backs. That's where they spend most of their time, is on their backs on in the ring. And the ring is not soft. It's not made out of soft little cushion. I mean, it does have some cushion in there, but it's also, you're landing on top of wood planks. So I mean, at the end of the day, there is some kind of protection, but not enough to keep you from not injuring your back while you have a herniated disc. That is the most idiotic thing I ever heard, Britt Baker ever come out of her mouth. She's very, very good on the microphone, but she is talking way too much shit about Thunder Rosa. I have no idea why Thunder Rosa and Brett Baker have so much heat with one another personally. If anyone in the chat knows, please let me know in the chat right now, because really, I'm a bit surprised because they both benefit each other. They're both great in the ring and they have great chemistry with one another and they tell amazing stories. I mean, without the two, AEW's women's division would suck balls anyway. Let's be honest. So that's just my viewpoint on those two. And I don't understand why they have so much heat for one another. I'll try my best to go ahead and research that to find out why. But quite frankly, I don't understand how the fuck these two women can hate each other so much when they both benefit each other. They both have helped the women's division flourish and look good. They have an amazing rivalry, and yet they treat each other like shit. Especially Brett Baker. She comes out flat out and fucking buries Thunder Rosa on national television. That is fucking ridiculous. But hey, it is what it is. Rachel Buck, she says, I don't feel good either because of this heat. And Daniel says, I hope AEW isn't going downhill right now, to be honest, but it sounds like it's starting to a bit. Well, Daniel, I don't think that they're going anywhere anytime soon unless they continue to do this bullshit that they've been doing. Tony Khan has got to take control of this company. He's invested way too much money. He has taken a lot of talent from WWE, and if you don't think Triple H is waiting, drooling from the mouth, hoping that some of these guys that they once had in NXT wouldn't come back to WWE, you're crazy. There's no reason for TK to allow these people to go anywhere, and he needs to provide them and prove to them that they are with the best product possible and that they have no reason to want to go anywhere because TK's got their back. But he's got to express that. He has to show unbiased opinions. He's not doing that. He is very biased. I mean, look at what he did with CM Punk. He's sitting there at the media scrum, Double or Nothing, and he practically might as well should have given CM Punk a blowjob on national television. Or technically it was on YouTube, but you get my point. I mean, come on, man. You can't be that, favored over with other people. I mean, people were fucking pissed at Vincent Mann being showing favoritism towards fucking Hulk Hogan. I mean, I don't blame him. Randy Savage definitely was one of them. Ultimate Warrior couldn't stand it. I mean, there were so many great talented wrestlers on that roster back in the 80s with Hulk Hogan, and it was absolutely fucking terrible that Hogan got all the attention. Don't get me wrong. Hogan was a great seller. He had an amazing gimmick and he sold a lot of merchandise, but there are other guys in that were on that roster that did their job as well and deserved as much as he did. And yet they didn't get any of that kind of credibility that Hogan did at that time. And I think that's absolutely sad. And that's what Tony Khan's kind of doing with CM Punk in a way. Thankfully, he made the right decision last Wednesday with John Moxley beating CM Punk for the title, only in a pretty much a burial, I guess you could say, or a squash. I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. Daniel says this feels like WWE versus WCW all over again, but in modern times. I wouldn't say it's that level yet. I mean, if they were competing on Monday nights or Friday nights at the same time, I could possibly agree with you, but let's be honest, AEW is not at the same level as fucking WWE right now. They weren't even at that level yet when they were competing against Vincent Mann's terrible booking ideas. They were at least getting 1.5 WWE, and AEW was right there with them. Now they're being crushed by a million fucking views or more. That is insane. And that's because Triple H is doing right by the company. The Triple H is creatively booking good shows, even when they're not exactly that great. I mean, last night's episode was not a great show, but it was still fun to watch. There was some good things about the show. And with Vince McMahon's creativity, you wouldn't ever see any of that. That's stuff that you would just want to turn off and forget about because it's not worth your time. This show had some good qualities besides the fact that it wasn't the greatest show that Triple H has produced since he's been in creative. And that's saying something to be at your worst episode and still produce good enough content on the show for people to invest their time, such as like myself, who has constantly said that the product is terrible, is quite an impressive statement there. I think that's an amazing idea. Raw hit 2 million views last night. Are you serious, Matt? Holy shit. I got to check this out. You got to be fucking kidding me. Okay, Raw ratings. This is insane. How the hell did they hit 2 million with that kind of episode? I thought they'd be at like 1.9, somewhere around there. They hit 2 million views? Holy shit. WWE draws huge ratings for Clash at the Castle Go Home show. Holy fuck. 2.11 million views? Holy shit. He fucking topped what he did last week. And that episode was great. Are you fucking kidding me? This is insane, man. His demo, 18 to 49, 0.59 rating. What the hell is going on here? It's like, oh, Triple H took over creative. I guess now it's time to start watching WWE again and actually be a fan and be excited. This is insane. I was expecting them to go under 2 million. They fucking went, they topped what they did last week. I don't fucking believe this shit. What the hell? This is fucking insane, dude. Oh my god, that is fucking crazy. 2.11 million views with that shitty that I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm talking positive about the episode, but it was not as good as last week's episode. Last week had a ton of great stuff. Plus a main event that you could all be proud to watch. Fucking last night's main event was terrible with that damn women's championship, tag team championship match. Daniel says, damn, that's a lot of views. More than I expected. Same here, man. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Is like everybody lost their fucking minds. Okay, Triple H is taking over creative, guys. Now we're going to go ahead and start watching the show on a weekly basis and actually be real fans to the WWE. I mean, come on, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm kind of coming across like a hypocrite my own self because I would never watch WWE because of what Vince McMahon was doing creatively. But I mean, geez, I didn't figure people were going to tune into this episode and stick with it all the way through. I mean, this episode was not something I thought was going to hold everyone's attention to. They had some great stuff though. I mean, fuck. They had Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle, the best segment in the entire show. Um the commentary between these two guys was amazing. And the so-called, "Oh, we need TV 14 for WWE Monday Night Raw, guys." Well, I don't know. It's TV PG, and yet they're cussing and saying fuck on national television. Granted, it is bleeped, but still, you got Matt Riddle saying fuck. You got Seth Rollins calling Matt Riddle a bitch, saying, "How do you like that, bitch?" Like, what? This is not pushing the envelope. This isn't TV 14 type rating. Is this not something we probably could see on AEW? Are you fucking kidding me with this shit? TV 14 my ass. They don't even need it. Shit, they fucking can do whatever the hell they want. Call themselves TV PG. It don't matter. They could call themselves TV blow it out your ass. What the hell does it matter about the damn rating? They just pulled a TV 14 type of segment and it was fucking great. And yet they don't even call themselves TV 14. They don't even have a TV 14 rating. This is fucking insanity, man. They topped it, man, with that fucking segment. That was a great segment. Holy shit, man. That was pure, unadulterated brutality by Seth Rollins. I fucking loved it. I hope Seth Rollins kicks Matt Riddle's ass. I really do. I want to see Seth Rollins get some hot winning streak throughout this entire fall. I really do. I think it's time he's due for that, man. He's done some really good stuff. He's had some good matches and he's also lost a lot of them and put a lot of people over. I think he deserves a push of some kind, at least a winning streak throughout the entire fall, excuse me. He's done a lot for WWE in the last year or so, and I think he's done an excellent job, and he definitely deserves some kind of, you know, priority treatment on this show because he's done some amazing stuff. I really have been impressed with his matches he's had. His promo work has gotten better since Triple H has taken over as well. He's not laughing as much, which I appreciate. I think he has been doing an amazing job. Really, I do. Um, Matt 87 Eagle also stated that last night wasn't a good show, so I'm shocked by the rating. And he has a shocked emoji. And then Craig Wachik, I believe is how you pronounce your last name. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it. It says that they scored a 2.1, Matt. Um, yeah, it was a 2.11 actually to be exact. I couldn't believe that when I read it. 2.11 million views for that fucking episode last night. And that was not one of the better shows that Triple H has produced. That is insanity. Um, but yeah, I actually didn't have a whole lot of problems with it. I love what they're doing with Kevin Owens. I think there's a possibility we may see Kevin Owens compete for the WWE Undisputed Championship sometime between in the fall up to the Royal Rumble, somewhere along that time frame. They were definitely implementing a lot of past history that Kevin Owens has with Roman Reigns in his first few months of his reign throughout 2020 to 2021. And he was definitely right about a couple of things he said. He would have won that last man standing match at the Royal Rumble pay per view in 2021, but unfortunately, he got screwed over by the Usos and Paul Heyman. So that was a um, uh, that was a pretty impressive matchup. I really am thinking about going back and watching that event. That was actually a good Royal Rumble, probably one of the better Royal Rumbles that Vince McMahon produced, which is sad, man, because he's produced mostly trash, man. Craig Warchick says, "I think they're still enjoying that post McMahon phase. People are still curious as to what's going to change." Well, pretty much what they're going to expect to see is a lot more wrestling based type of storyline telling. There's going to be a lot of NXT black and gold type theme taking place on a bigger stage, such as the main roster. Um, I mean, he is going to go old school with this. He's going to do what Vince McMahon used to do when wrestling was great back in the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression era. And that's what they're trying to focus on. They're doing it in a very slow manner for some strange reason. It's supposedly, from what I've heard, it has a lot to do with the investors. They don't want to freak the investors out by doing so many changes so quickly, giving them the idea that something is definitely wrong with the company, which actually there was. It was called Vince McMahon. He was the fucking problem of the company and why the company was suffering so much. So I don't know why it has to be in a slow burn, but apparently they're doing that in a sense of not getting the investors worried about the business side of things within WWE. That's the only explanation I can come up with from what I've heard from a lot of bigger YouTubers and podcasters. So that's the only thing I can come up with at this point. I can't invest all my time with backstage news and stuff like that on a week to week basis because I work 8 to 9 hours a day, Monday through Friday. So I have a normal job just like the rest of you guys. So this is just a hobby of mine for anyone who's new in the chat. But yeah, I mean, personally, this is just a hobby for me, but I would love if it was possible to turn this into my primary job. I appreciate the like, by the way, whoever did that. And Matt 87 Eagle says, nah, we're getting KO and Sammy versus the Usos at some point. I mean, they could do both, Matt. I definitely think that would work. Either one would work. I'd take both of them, truthfully. I mean, if you really want to get technical, you could do KO, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. Have Roman Reigns fuck over Kevin Owens again with the Usos, and Sami Zayn join forces with Kevin Owens. And we see those two team together against the Usos and beat them for the tag team titles at WrestleMania. That's an option they could go with. I think that would be an excellent idea. There's predictions that are going around that the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are going to beat the Usos before even WrestleMania or before 2023. I don't know why anyone would want to do that, why anybody would want to predict an idea like that to happen, because I think it'd probably be a lot more suitable for them to lose the tag team titles the same time that Roman Reigns loses the World Heavyweight Championship. That's just my opinion on that. But I mean, some people might have a good reason to debate with me on the idea that that would be too predictable. But then again, let's face facts, guys. This is very predictable. We all know that the Usos are going to more than likely lose the tag team titles about the same time that Roman Reigns loses his world championship. They may even lose it before Roman Reigns loses his world championship. So it's all still predictable no matter which way you look at it. The only difference is when are they losing the tag team titles compared to when Roman Reigns is losing the world championship. That's the only difference. So I don't care when. I would like to see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens win at WrestleMania for the tag team titles while Roman Reigns loses the world tag team titles or the world championship, not the tag team titles, the world championship to Cody Rhodes after Cody wins the Royal Rumble. That's the way I would book it. But, you know, it's fine if it's booked a little differently than what I'm predicting. I'm totally cool with it. Either way, it's gonna be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn definitely winning the tag team titles. But I would definitely like to see Kevin Owens compete for that world championship just one more time before Roman Reigns loses the championship to Cody Rhodes. Now, there are some people saying that Drew McIntyre is winning at Clash at the Castle. I'm sorry to tell you guys, but that ain't fucking happening. That is not gonna fucking happen. Are you guys insane? Whoever thinks that, you better reassess yourself and rethink this shit because there ain't no way Drew McIntyre is beating Roman Reigns for the world championship. The, all this time, Drew McIntyre is the guy that's going to bring down Roman Reigns. Come on. That's utterly ridiculous. The true storyline here that's going to take place at the Clash at the Castle is we are going to see Austin Theory do a Seth Rollins type cash in only to fail at doing it. That's going to be the difference between him and Seth Rollins' cash in. And we're going to have Karrion Kross during this time. It's a triple threat match. Have Karrion Kross fuck over Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross are going to have a storyline being built after this pay-per-view. That is my viewpoint. That's my prediction. That's what I'm sticking with. And I think Roman Reigns beats Austin Theory. Drew McIntyre doesn't take the L at all. He doesn't take shit. It's just Karrion Kross gets in the middle of this match, costing Drew McIntyre of any opportunity winning the WWE World Championship. That's the way I kind of view it. And that's what I think is going to happen. Craig Wachek says a lot of people have speculated that Bray Wyatt will return at Clash at the Castle. That is a good prediction and speculation, but there's one small problem. Where is he going to come into this? That's my question. I don't think that would be the right place for him to come in and re-debut to WWE. I think the best place would be at Crown Jewel at the Saudi Arabia show. Why? Here's the reason why. His fucking career was buried there. He might as well come back and reinvent himself once again. That's what I think. And Crown Jewel is next month. So in October, they're going to be in Saudi Arabia. So I think that would probably be the best place for him to debut back to WWE. Or make his return back to WWE, I should say. But yeah, that is how I view where Bray Wyatt should actually show up. I think that's the best place for him right now at this point. But yeah, I think that Roman Reigns will be defeating Austin Theory, and Drew McIntyre will not be taking an L whatsoever. And Austin Theory is going to pretty much suffer an L here trying to do a cash in. He's been on a winning streak. He's had a nice little storyline with Johnny Gargano on Raw the last 2 weeks as well. I've enjoyed that. I don't know where they're going to go with it, and it should be kind of entertaining to see what they do with this storyline. So I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with this storyline altogether. So let me get into some news about not No DQ. That's the website I go to for my news and rumors. Let's go over some stuff about AEW at this point. There's a comment that was made by Darby Allin about he said he paid a $12,000 to get out of his contract so he could sign with AEW. Are you fucking serious? This is insane. So Darby Allin says he appeared on DDP Snake Pit podcast, and here's it's joining AEW. At the time, I was signed with another little promotion. The moment I heard Cody Rhodes was interested, long story short, I paid $12,000 to get out of my contract. I took a loan out, and I remember I used to hit Cody up like every day, just blow up his phone, and he would never really answer. That's odd. Why the fuck wouldn't he answer? So there was another question that was brought up. What was appealing about AEW? He was also asked why didn't he want to be part of WWE. This was back in when 205 Live was a thing. I was hell fucking no. I am not going to do that. I do not want to be put in a box. Well, bro, I'm sorry to tell you, but Darby, you have been placed in a box. You haven't done anything important, and you're an amazing performer, and you do a great job with this company, and you should be a world champion. That's my personal opinion, guys. I think Darby Allin's getting a short end of the stick. I don't like the fact that this guy 1 minute is doing something, looks like he's being pushed, and then he's put into Never Never Land. This guy has done nothing on this program for a while. And now all of a sudden, I think he might have had an injury, so I might be a little unfair to Tony Khan in this situation. And if I am, I apologize. But he hasn't done anything with Darby Allen that's remotely, getting me emotionally invested in Darby Allen to see him world champion. I think he deserves to be in that kind of position. Um, I think that Darby Allen has invested a lot of his time in this company. He has been one of the big faces on this in this promotion that has done a whole lot for them and has put his body through a lot of pain, and he has just sacrificed a lot for this company. He is their version of Jeff Hardy, and he's clean cut. He doesn't have any backstage problems. He doesn't have any problems with drug issues. He's a straight laced dude, and he does his job correctly and performs at a very high level. Um, why he's not being focused on, championship belts or getting back the TNT championship at this point and building a really great rivalry with Wardlow or doing something having a rivalry against someone who's a big name, anything. This guy is doing a fucking bullshit thing with Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns with Sting and Wardlow. Well, wait, well, hold on. I'm mixing up my shit here. Oh yeah, he's got a thing going on with Miro, Sting, and himself against the House of Black, which, by the way, the House of Black has been getting fucked over beyond belief. And that's another group of people that have done some amazing work, especially Malachi Black. Ever since he faced Cody Rhodes last year, he has done nothing. He beat Cody Rhodes and then he lost to him. I do not understand the concept and the mentality behind AEW right now. Now, I did hear that Malachi Black has been dealing with some back problems, so I should kind of pump the brakes a little bit and be fair on this. But it just seems to me like Malachi Black has traded up for the same exact treatment that he was getting in WWE, just sitting in a fucking closet, spilling out a bunch of bullshit that makes absolutely no sense and nobody cares about. Now he's just sitting in a dark room where you barely see his fucking face with two other guys, Brody King, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't particularly care for him all that much. But Buddy Matthews, man, this guy was doing some amazing stuff in 205 live in the cruiserweight division, and now he's doing jack shit nothing. I mean, this guy has done nothing since 205 live has went bye-bye. I don't get it. Even in WWE, he was being mistreated and not used correctly. And they're doing the same thing here. Pac, another guy. Pac has been an amazing performer. He is a great talent. They got an All Atlantic championship that you never see him defend unless you watch Dark. Who the fuck watches Dark? Dark is a fucking shit show. Who the hell's going to watch a bunch of fucking nobodies wrestle each other with no storyline being built behind it? What a fucking waste of time. Shit. Craig Waljick says, damn, can you imagine taking out a $12,000 loan and the guy you promised you a contract isn't answering your calls? Yeah, I don't know, man. That was very odd. Just reading that. I don't know what all of a sudden out of nowhere, apparently eventually answered his phone call because uh in the very second pay-per-view, you see Darby Allin wrestling Cody Rhodes one-on-one in an amazing match in that Fyter Fest event, which headlined Joey Janela and Jon Moxley. So in a hardcore match. So apparently something, Cody finally answered him, or he wouldn't have had that match with Cody. I mean, come on. But yeah, Darby Allin, major underutilized performer. And this guy's got no injuries. I don't believe he does. And they're just underutilizing him. Miro's another one. Miro, what the fuck have they done with Miro, man? Ever since he lost the damn championship to Sammy Guevara, his fucking run in AEW has been terrible. Outside of winning the TNT championship, Miro has done shit on this fucking in this promotion. He's cut some great promos with the House of Black and everything, but let's be honest, he hasn't done jack shit. This guy is being underutilized as well. As I said before, when they were doing all these signings, Tony Khan was overinflating his roster. He does not have enough airtime to allow everyone on the shows. It's that fucking simple. You don't need to hoard talent to say, I got a good show. You have to have enough talent to be able to utilize on your 2 to 3 hour program for the week, which is what they have. They have a 3-hour program for the week. They have Rampage for 1 hour and they got Dynamite for 2. They only need enough for a 3-hour show. They don't do anything outside of that one day on a Wednesday. So what the fuck are they doing? I mean, from what I heard, they have about 120 performers. That is insane. That is way too much talent. You have to have a lot more programming going on for you to be able to utilize all that talent. Or they're just going to sit around, collect money, and have nothing to do. That's insanity. If you think about it, this is kind of harsh to say. Maybe Tony Khan ought to consider a budget cut for his promotion, unlike what WWE needed to do. Because this is getting ridiculous. There's nobody able to get over and be utilized correctly. Nobody's getting enough airtime. I mean, only the top stars are getting airtime. Look at Hangman Page. This motherfucker was the world champion for 6 months or more. He loses the title, and there's no backstory for him. He's got nothing going on for him. He went ahead. He was in the Forbidden Door pay-per-view for the New Japan Wrestling World title. And outside of that, he has done nothing. He's a fucking fan for the Dark Order. And supposedly, he's going to be a replacement of one of the Dark Order members. So they give him something to do for a trios championship that don't mean fucking nothing. The trios titles are shit. I don't give a fuck who wins the trios titles. You want to know why? Because we see tag team wrestling all the time. Why the fuck do we need another added on tag team type title on our show? Get it the fuck off. Soon enough, they're going to bring in women's tag team titles. Are you fucking kidding me? You can't even utilize half your fucking roster on the show on a week-to-week basis. You're going to add in tag team titles for women? You don't even book the women's division correctly. They get one fucking spot on the show, and the rest of the time being, the rest of the roster sits there and does nothing in the women's division. They have about 15 to 20 women. Are you fucking kidding me? You can't add another segment or another match on your show for the women? Get the fuck out of here. You must really think your talent's that fucking terrible. And if that's the case, it's time for a fucking release of some of the talent that you don't think is worth your damn time. Don't waste your fucking money in your roster space. Use your fucking brain, dude. I mean, this is coming from a fucking nobody, all right? I know I'm not, a business guru or anything like that. I don't got millions and millions of dollars to start my own wrestling promotion. But my goodness, I have enough sense in my brain to realize that when you hire so many people with so little time, all you're going to have available to you to utilize all this talent is have multi-man tag team matches or multi-man five fatal five ways, fatal four ways, three triple threat matches. I mean, come on, man. Use your fucking head. You can't do 3 hours and use all that talent. Not to mention he reuses the talent he used on Dynamite for Rampage sometimes. So give me a fucking break, would you? Please. Spare us all and use your fucking head. You were doing it right when you first started. Get back on track and get this show pumping the way it was and make us entertain again to be fans. I'm not giving up on AEW. I know I'm not spewing positiveness here. I'm being very tough, but I am not going to give up just because, oh, Tony Khan is making mistakes and having problems in his locker room. I don't give a shit enough to do that. He has to go so fucking low to Vince McMahon status. And I don't believe he can possibly do that creatively. There's no fucking way anyone can do that unless they are purposely hijacking their own fucking show and purposely making it look terrible for people to not want to even watch it. So I don't see Tony Khan ever getting to that level of Vince McMahon like. So you're never going to stop seeing me produce content about AEW and talking about it because they don't insult your intelligence. They're just making dumb mistakes. That's the problem. He needs a fucking creative team. He needs somebody to help them produce better shows. You cannot do this as a one-man operation. You're a multi-million-dollar company, man. You're in front of crowds that are as big as WWE's crowds on a week-to-week basis. So please spare me the bullshit that you're going to do this by yourself if that's what Tony Khan's thinking. I hope that's not the case. He definitely needs a fucking creative team for Ring of Honor. There's no way he can do all of this shit by himself. That's insanity. And that is way too much stress to put on yourself. You're not Vince McMahon, and fuck, even Vince McMahon did not produce good shows based on the fact that he put everything on his shoulders and made his own decisions about everything. Not allowing anyone to have their own opinion and viewpoint and creativity produced on the show. It's that fucking simple, man. You can't have shows produced by one person. It's got to be a group of people because it's way too much fucking work for one person to handle by themselves. It's definitely way too much. Craig Wojcik says, yeah, Tony needs to start cutting people and trimming the fat. Unfortunately, I don't think he's capable of making those tough decisions. I think he is. I really do. I just think that he doesn't want to, say, hey, I'm going to hire you and then drop you uh, like a like nobody's business just because things are getting a little rough for him figuring out how to fit everyone on the show. I don't believe he's going to do that. He might be smart enough though to let their contracts run out and then not bring them back. That is probably what he's going to more than likely do. I don't think he's going to fire them in the middle of their contract with him. I think he's going to honor the contract pretty much and not release them, just to be fair. But once their contract is up, I don't think he's going to reevaluate and negotiate a contract with them if he doesn't see the point of keeping them. And he did that with a couple of wrestlers that he wasn't using all that much, and he let them go. Joey Janela was definitely one of them, not to mention he was not giving out a whole lot of entertainment that people were seeing value in. So I honestly think that that is what he's going to do with the next batch of people's contracts that come up. He's definitely going to have to do that no matter what. He needs some fucking budget space, honestly. Daniel says, I think some of them should sadly be let go because not everyone is going to get the same treatment as the top stars, sadly. Well, let's be honest. This is something JD from New York 206 has been saying. I'm not going to take credit for this, but this is what he's been saying. The Triple H effect is in, and it's definitely true. I mean, if you don't believe me, you just heard on this podcast me saying that fucking WWE's Raw episode did not produce the best show under Triple H's creative, and yet they still made more viewers than last week's episode. They went up. to 2.11. That's insane, man. They are doing what AEW was doing at the time of their inception. That is what Triple H is doing now with WWE. The tides have turned and things are now different. That is big. This is not a negative thing for Tony Khan. Tony Khan should be looking at this as a positive because he can go ahead and look at it as a huge challenge for him to be able to turn this shit around and say, hey, yeah, we might be down. We might be having problems backstage, but we're not going nowhere because we're just as important as WWE is. And that's what I would do if I was in Tony Khan's shoes. I would have my chin up. I'd say, fuck this shit. There ain't no reason why I can't continue to produce shows and content like I have before and get this shit right. And he can do that if he pulls up his pants, pulls up his big boy pants and says, enough. We've got to take control of this shit. So honestly, AEW has a positive situation that they could really make good. They could turn into a very positive thing here. This is adversity that they need to have. They have to have adversity to show that they are true, legit wrestling promotion that's going to be around for many, many years. So, yeah, they're going to have their ups and they're going to have their downs. Right now, they're in their downs and they need to stay focused, do what they were doing before that was working, before Vince left, and continue to do that. That's all they got to do. And stop worrying about fucking ratings with WWE. They need to worry about getting a little bit better each and every week. Triple H said this beautifully when they were competing against AEW when he was just running NXT. He says it's not it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. That is what ratings are all about. It's about a marathon. Each and every week, you just want to get a little bit better. That's all you want to focus on. Just chipping away, improving that rating each and every week, getting more and more people to want to invest their time and watch your product. You don't need gimmick pay-per-view type episodes every single week to attract that audience. It's only temporary. You need to build off of storylines, which is what they were doing at the time. Now they're not. They're doing week to week booking with good wrestling. No doubt about that. They're having good matches, but their shows have no storyline progression to keep you invested to want to watch next week. The only thing they got is some good matches the next week after that. Prime example of that is Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay this tomorrow on Dynamite. That's a great match, but where's the story? What is the point of these two wrestling each other? Why? Because they're going to be competing at All Out in a 6-man tag team match for the trios tag team titles? Who gives a shit? You're giving us free pay-per-view match right there. I mean, does anyone even think about this shit? Come on, man. He's giving away matches that are pay-per-view like quality. Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, that's a fucking pay-per-view match. That ain't no Dynamite match. Are you fucking kidding me? Where is he coming up with this illogical booking? Craig Wojcik says, where do you see AEW in 5 years' time? I still see them around. I really do. As long as they get their act together and they start doing what they were doing when they initially started. If they do that, then they're going to be fine. They continue to go on this path. Well, Rachel Buck, if you're not familiar, Craig, she stated that she thinks the company is going to go out of business in 2 years. She might be right if they continue to do this shit. I mean, if you don't believe me, go ask WCW. They're no longer in business. They were one of the biggest companies in the world. And they're no longer in business because they produce shows like they did back in the late 90s and early 2000s like shit. They didn't progress with new characters. They did not get new people. They didn't do squat. And that is something AEW needs to start doing. They're taking all the great talents that were great back in the mid 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2015, and all the NXT guys who were ROH guys at the time when they were in their prime. They were in ROH and then they moved to NXT and they did some great things, but didn't want to be with WWE being the way they were at that time. Now things are changing in WWE and AEW is going backwards. You can't do that. You do that, you're going to end up doing the complete reverse of what you were doing before. Instead of having your talent stick with you and you being able to garner more talent that you have more space to put on your roster, you're just going to end up going ahead and putting yourself unwanted by the talent. The talent's going to want to go to WWE. And trust me, WWE has a lot of fucking airtime to do that. They have 5 hours worth of wrestling content a week just talking about WWE's main roster, not the fucking NXT. NXT, add that on there. Fuck, man, you got 7 hours worth of wrestling television. That's almost a full day of work. Are you kidding me? Come on. And if WWE can't fit some of these guys on the main roster and make use out of them, they'll put them in NXT and make NXT just as big as a fucking AEW show. I can guarantee you that. Triple H would love to make NXT put AEW out of business. NXT black and gold, reinvent that shit back to the way it was and make them go up against AEW again? Oh, Vince. Triple H would have a fucking hard on, man. He'd have the biggest hard on going, oh, what sweet revenge. No, sorry to sound like Vince McMahon there with the voice impersonation, but man, that guy would he'd be going, you can suck it, bitches. I mean, this guy he's out for fucking blood. And if you don't think he is, you're crazy. And he has every right to. He was the one running Wednesday nights. He was kicking ass with the 1 hour shows and producing one of the best wrestling content in North America you can imagine. And then he got kicked off of fucking television from away from his creation that he made with NXT on account of AEW being able to push Triple H's face in. And there's a good reason to that. And that's on account of Vince McMahon not taking the NXT talent and making them important on the main roster. And also, besides that, he also would take the damn episodes that aired on Wednesday night and allow his viewers, his subscribers of the WWE Network / Peacock be able to watch those episodes the next day afterwards. So if you really think about it, if you don't have DVR, you can't DVR AEW. So what are you going to choose? You're going to choose NXT, a show that you could watch the next day? Or are you going to choose AEW that you can't DVR and watch the next day? So you're going to watch it on that day so you can watch it live. Well, there was no decision on my part. It was very easy. AEW Dynamite and watch NXT the next day on a Thursday night. That's what I did. And that hurt NXT's ratings. If you don't believe me, go ahead and look at the comparison between the two when they were working together on Wednesday nights. It's that fucking simple, man. And trust me, Triple H will be looking to get back on Wednesday nights and trying to shove Tony Khan's face in the fucking dirt. Guarantee you that. All right. So I pretty much touch a good amount of AEW stuff. Let me just go over the matches with you guys for Raw, since I did mention I'm going to talk about Raw here tonight. So let me go ahead and do that. Give me one sec. All right, give me one second. I'm about to pull up the matches here that happened last night. All right, so here's the matches that we got. Now, don't get me wrong, this was not exactly the best match card on the planet. I've seen better from Triple H in the last couple of weeks. This definitely was not one of them. All right, so Judgment Day with Damian Priest and Finn Balor faced AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler. I mentioned this on the review. This was an okay match. It lasted 8 minutes and 34 seconds. Not bad. And Dolph Ziggler took the L from Damian Priest. We also found a 6-man tag team match with Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair going up against Danny Moe, Katie Arquette, and Kayla Sparks. This was a 3-minute and 19-minute match, or 3-minute and 19-second match. And Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair won this match against a bunch of jobbers. Big whoop there. We also had the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford defeating Alpha Academy with Chad Gable and Otis. I already discussed this on the Raw review from last night. And not Triple H, Kurt Angle had a lot to do with this storyline. This was actually a very funny little thing that happened between Kurt Angle and Chad Gable. I think if they actually had a match between those two, I think we would definitely have a lot of fun watching that match. I think those two would produce a banger of a match. But I don't think Kurt Angle's ever coming back to wrestle, unfortunately. Bobby Lashley went up against The Miz and defeated him. Miz, this whole match was based on where Dexter Lumis was going to be. So there was a whole lot of distraction going on throughout this entire match. Miz actually thought a couple of times Tommaso Ciampa was Dexter Lumis, which was fucking hilarious. Miz has actually played a more entertaining and funny type of role so far. Since Triple H has taken over creative, I think he has been kind of interesting, but at the same time, he looks like he's getting taken off television eventually by Dexter Lumis. I'm not sure. But it definitely looks like there might be some collusion going on between, like, they're in cahoots between Champa and Dexter Lumis. Kevin Owens had a match with Jey Uso where Kevin Owens defeated Jey Uso in 12 minutes and 26 seconds. This was actually a very good matchup as well. Kevin Owens has been utilized great on Raw the last couple of weeks. And he has been very, very serious. And I've enjoyed what they've had. Let me reiterate what I'm trying to say. They've done a good job trying to use him on television. He has been a fucking joke. He has not been cutting KO shows on a week-to-week basis. He has been in the ring, very serious, the type of Kevin Owens we were used to back in 2015 when his very first match was against John Cena for the U.S. Championship. That was the kind of Kevin Owens I was picturing he was going to stay his entire career, but unfortunately Vince McMahon thought otherwise. So there you go on that. Kevin Owens has been amazing. I hope at some point we see him as the Jon Moxley of WWE and wins the world championship at some point down the line. That's just my viewpoint on him. I think he is a main eventer in the making. I think he has been a main eventer for a very long time, and he has never been given a true legitimate run as a world champion. That Universal Championship he had in 2017 was nothing compared to what I was imagining him having in his career. That was a joke run. He had to have Chris Jericho by his side throughout the entire run. I thought it was pathetic. I think their chemistry together was entertaining. I thought it was funny. But when it came down to it, as a reigning world champion, I think Kevin Owens' run absolutely sucked. And it ended on a humongously bad note with Goldberg beating him in less than a minute at fucking, I'm trying to remember, Fastlane, I think it was, in 2017. Fucking pathetic. All right. And then the main event was Aaliyah and Raquel Rodriguez, the laughing stock of tag team wrestling. Why these two are together, I have no idea. Raquel Rodriguez, who formerly known as Gonzalez, has been a fucking laughing stock since she's came to the main roster. Even with Triple H in power as creative booking, She has not been all that great, in my opinion, as well. She's been shit. And her team won by Aaliyah pinning Dakota Kai. That is pathetic. That was the one thing on this show that absolutely fucking sucked and was a complete and utter waste of everybody's time. Why this was the main event, I said this last night and I'll say it again. It was shit. There was no reason for this match to be the fucking main event at all. This was pathetic. This was the worst part about the entire show. Exclude that from the entire match card and the show itself. This show was not all that bad. This Pittsburgh crowd, fucking terrible. I wouldn't show up at Pittsburgh ever again if I was Triple H for a very long time. WWE needs to stay away from Pittsburgh. They did a terrible job. I never heard Pittsburgh sound like that for an AEW Dynamite show. Shit, if that happened, I think Brett Baker would have a heart attack in the middle of the damn ring. Shit. That crowd, every fucking time AEW's there, that Pittsburgh crowd's loud and heard by everyone around the world when they're on TV. I don't know why anyone in their right mind would spend all that money and not make noise, whether the show's good or the show is bad. I never can understand that. I have yet to figure out why people are doing that shit. You paid all that money and you're going to sit there quiet as a mouse as if nothing's going on. Well, then why the fuck did you spend all that money? Especially the people in the front row. The people by the fucking barricade spend at least $1,000 a pop. And this is Raw we're talking about and SmackDown we're talking about. This isn't even pay-per-view shit. This is just regular television. And yet they're paying almost $1,000 a ticket to sit right by the fucking barricade. Imagine if you go to a damn pay-per-view like Clash at the Castle, which is going to cost a fortune for anyone to go to see that event up close and personal. If you got a ticket sitting in that front row, I guarantee you for a stadium show, you're definitely paying at least $3,000 or more per ticket. Guarantee you. Especially the way this show has been. This show has been super hot. People are interested in this product and people are showing up. I mean, fucking WrestleMania is almost sold out and we're not even near WrestleMania season yet. Survivor Series, the pre-sale is already done. They sold out and they still got more tickets they're going to sell. This is insanity, man. This is what AEW was doing when they first started and WWE was shit. This is the same exact result that AEW was getting when they first started. Now that WWE's got Triple H and creative, people are going ape stick and people are enjoying what they're seeing. And things better change for AEW and they better even things out or they might be in severe trouble. And I hope that's not the case because I want to see them around for a very, very long time. I want them to be the alternative show that I can watch on a Wednesday night and enjoy my professional wrestling. Because honestly, their direction in pro wrestling, I'll be honest with you guys, I never said this, but I think AEW needs to take a UFC perception or perspective. I think that's the way they need to produce the show. I think they need to make it more like a real life type of right, like reality TV in a sports setting. That's what I think. I think we should see stuff like what UFC does, but UFC is real, so they're not going off of fixed matches and shit, but you get my drift. I think that is something they need to do. Or we're going to be going ahead and not just saying who watches Impact Wrestling. We may at some point down the line say who's watching AEW. And I don't want that to happen. I'm telling you, folks, I don't want to go ahead and hear one day from one of the bigger podcasters saying, well, who watches AEW? Are you fucking kidding me? I've been a fan of this product from day one, and I'm never going to stop being a fan until they either crumble or they improve. And I'm hoping they improve because I've invested a lot of time. I've invested a lot of money. Speaking of money, I don't know if I'm buying the pay-per-view yet. I'm going to give them after Dynamite. after Dynamite, if I do not get something of a reason to tune in for All Out Live and pay for the pay-per-view, I'm not going to be covering it the same day of. I'll watch it on some other streaming service where I don't have to pay for it, and give you guys a review on Labor Day on Monday and do it that way. I don't know. I still got to figure this out. I will let you guys will know by tomorrow. By tomorrow, you should know exactly what I'm going to be doing. If I am watching this live, I will be doing a live review and, give you guys a live reaction of this entire show, because I am not going to watch 4 hours of this shit and then do a review afterwards live. That's insane. I'm not doing that again. I'll just do a full on 4 hour live reaction of the entire pay-per-view. And you guys can go ahead and chat along with me, and I'll answer your questions, or, like we usually do here on Random Wrestling Talk every single Tuesday night. So that's pretty much it, guys. So at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And as always, leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.